respected HSG President, Randi Hall.
My picture creature, to get right into it, is about my family history, and particularly why my family history is important as a Black American affected by the African diaspora. It's been really important for me to be able to catalog and trace my ancestors' oral testimonies, written testimonies, and documentation, and I'm really excited and nervous to share that with you all today. So first, I'm going to give an intro about my traditional nuclear family. I have a mom, dad, older brother, and that's about it. I don't have kids, my brother doesn't have kids. That's where it ends at Country Creature. We're going to go more into, again, my ancestral history, which I got really into in undergrad, high school, college. Some of my family members have already been collecting all this information. And so we're going to start with the cool people in my family, my mom and dad. They got to meet the Obamas during the 2008 election. So they've been married only 30 years, May 28th this year. Dad's city attorney, mom's a high school educator, and I would not be involved in public service if it weren't for them both. They both come from relatively different backgrounds. They both grew up in Broward County, Florida, so I'm looking forward to showing that in this presentation. So to start with my mom's side, that's my grandma Louise and my granddaddy LB, and my two older uncles. Relatively small family. They, again, born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Both my grandparents were educators as well. And the next slide, we're going to start going through the actual pedigree tree that I have built on Ancestry DNA. Sorry that it's blurry, but I've been building this up for the past couple years, and I'll show my dad's side as well. And my mom's side is relatively more fleshed out because, as we'll showcase, they've had more documentation. They have more just records, more photographs, and so we're going to start working from this way. We're going to start really at this part, my great-great-great grandparents, starting with Ellen Summerall. So this is from the 1850 census when they lived in Hillsborough County, which is Tampa Bay area. So she was a white woman. I believe there's a chance she may have had a Black American mother, but for all their census reports, she was listed as white. She married Nelson Tillis, who is my great-great-great-grandfather. He was the first free Black pioneer in the Fort Myers, Florida area. That's his homesteading contract. He owned this land. They were married. They had 11 children together. So that was 1867. So he helped build up Fort Myers in terms of hauling land to build the courthouse. So at that time, racial tensions were not as high, but eventually things did change. In 1897, a white man shot at Ellen and their eldest son Elias, and from that point forward, they had to get a tutor from Key West to tutor their children. He built the first Black school for children. That's the Lee County History Museum in Fort Myers, Florida, where they are enshrined for their historical presence in this area. I got to visit that museum back when I was a kid. So in 1910, Nelson Tillis went down to the Bahamas to try to really relocate his family all together, and that's where he passed away. So next generation this is Benjamin Tillis, one of their children, who married Flossie Purdue. That's their children, Ruth and Cressy May. So now they live in Alachua County, Florida, where the University of Florida is located. You can tell from these photos that they have these photos. They're well dressed, they're dapper. They had relatively more wealth for Black American families at this time, and that continued on. So Leroy Tunnage, who is my great-grandfather, that's Ruth Tillis again, that's my granddad and his two older sons. He owned restaurants, bars, and this is now Broward County, Florida. He helped get a judge that my father worked with into judgeship because he had control over the Black vote of Broward County, essentially. They had a lot of prominence in building up parts of the Black community that still exists in Broward County. And then I wanted to bookmark it by the wedding of my grandparents. They got divorced early on for good reason. It was meant to be. But again, just to really highlight and illustrate my mother really had a different upbringing than my father had, but similar dynamics in other ways. So my dad gave me this quote, and these are all my uncles and aunts. We have Neil, Ed, Arthur Lee Jr., Leo Hurston, Nate, Sam, grandparents, Murtis, Doug, Helen, my dad, Willie Earl, Gladys, and Ken. Only those two have passed away, the rest are still kicking. My dad was one of 13, the second youngest. They moved to Broward County when he was 3 years old. I'll get into that later. So I'm excited to talk about this side of the family because relatively we did not have as much documentation. They were in Alabama for about 150 years. We knew up to my great-grandfather, who's somewhere here, Gussie Lee, or Randi Hall, and other than that, this was all a new breakthrough that we were able to discover in the last 4 years. So this is Burwell Boykin. He's not an ancestor of mine. He owned my ancestors. So the Boykin family immigrated to Virginia in 1685 from Wales. They have all this documentation. We can verify this documentation. They have a whole written documentation of their history and lineage. So in South Carolina, where Boykin lived, he had about 600 acres of plantation land. When he died in 1817, he willed off his property. So this is my ancestor, London Boykin Sr., valued at $800 USD in 1817. His wife and son, London Jr., were for $725. So when I found this out, I was kind of like, wow, this is amazing. It's history. We were able to trace that back. The only reason we were able to trace this back was because of Paul Ewing, who is my great-grandmother's real father. My Aunt Helen was able to discover through a mix of DNA testing, oral testimony, talking to other cousins and relatives who lived in Alabama, that who we thought was Viola Collins' father was not who we really thought it was growing up. And this man really opened up that entire bridge back to 1772 and finding out who London Sr. was. So Viola and Gussie Hall are my great-grandparents, and Martha Jackson is Gussie Hall's mother, and John Hall is the first time we see Hall in our family tree, and we know nothing about that man. That's the ultimate dead end. I've been trying to help my aunt figure that out. We don't know what he looks like, when he was born, anything. So going back to, my father moved to Broward County when he was 3 years old in 1964, because in 1963, September, Birmingham, Alabama, the 16th Baptist Church bombing from the KKK killed 4 black girls. By April 1964, my grandfather moved his entire family out of Alabama after 150 years, and I thank him for that every day. Without have met my mom. So this is supposed to show like a migration pattern. The blue is my dad's family, which again did not move that much compared to my mom's family, through South Carolina, through Florida. And this for me is kind of really why I got interested in this was my bigger migration patterns. I took a DNA test, and it was really, for me, I want to, if possible, get back to the original origins of my family lineage. And I have some family pictures of our reunions. We have a reunion every year since 1995. We keep getting bigger and better. I ain't got kids, but everyone else in my family does. And eventually I will have kids, and I want to continue sharing this history. I've given presentations about this at my family reunions. This is from the last one, 2017. We're gonna have another one next year. And so it's really important, again, for me to be able to have this history, to catalog it, to keep finding out more that we haven't been able to fill out yet, and to let everyone else know about it. Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I did ancestry DNA, which is autosomal. There are other ones. Family tree DNA has an autosomal, but also has a Y DNA test. So male has to take that, which I want to have my brother take. And then there's a mitochondrial DNA, so you can go more paternal line. Another good one, 23andMe, is getting a lot of good press, but they also have like a medical history one that you can have more like your genome sequencing and see other like what characteristics make you more susceptible to cancers or other things. So I'm just starting with ancestry DNA. I got it on sale, but I wanted to. There are also some that are advertised simply for Black Americans to take. It's also the most expensive, so I'm kind of still doing my research on that. But eventually, I hope to have a full gamut of results to compare.
What inspired you to collect the history of your heritage?
Yeah, no, great question. It's a very shallow answer. So, as I said in college, I got involved because I wanted a tattoo. I wanted a tattoo. I wanted to be related to ancestry in some way, and that's where I was like, well, shit, I don't really know about. I know, like, I knew my mom's side. I already knew about. We have so many pictures. Those are pictures we already had on file. Like they had all that documentation. But my dad's side, the Hall side, I'm very proud of being a Hall. And I didn't know much about that outside of just like my great-grandfather. We have reunions every other year. We have so many people, and we still have this like, we don't know what else. So I spent a spring break with my Auntie Helen, and she's been doing this for years since she retired. And that's the first time I saw census records going back to the 1800s, slave records where they would keep records from the slave owner's name, and then just cataloging all the slaves based by sex, age, and race. It's always black. So, and that's, yeah, that, for me, like, it was just mine. It's talk about it so comfortably because it's history, it's real. Just recognizing, again, the importance of this. Like, slaves didn't have their own family names. they'd have to take the names of their slave owners or just make up new names on the spot. So that's why we're kind of still, John Hall is the biggest mystery in terms of our ancestry. I don't know if we'll ever really find it out. We have some theories, but that's kind of the ever-going mess.
So did you get a tattoo? And
I did not get a tattoo, and now I can't afford one, so.